Good morning. We may have a few other members of our team join us, but we'll get started. Following the same protocol and making sure that you all get accurate information on a daily basis from us. City Manager Teresa Wilson will follow the same order that we have been, wanting to make sure that we give updates on the water and wastewater services to include the Canal Rehabilitation Project. We'll talk about debris removal, an update on that, and we really want to get some more information out today, even after the presser on boil water advisory, and hopefully some repeals that we feel we'll be able to make in the northwestern portion of the city of Columbia. Every day I'm just blessed and feel blessed as a community with all of the support that we are seeing from volunteers, but of course from our first responders and the yeoman's effort they're making on a daily basis, our public works officials, our utilities and engineering officials. They are continuing to work around the clock, and we are going to continue to make progress. We're very excited today to be able to talk about some of the progress at the canal. Big wins overnight for us, and we want to sustain that. We are well aware of the rains today, and we are monitoring that very closely. The projections that we're getting in our Emergency Operations Center call for 1 to 2 inches, and we're well aware of the more challenged areas of the city where that could be impactful. So please know that we're monitoring that very closely. I'll allow, of course, Chief Holbrook, Sheriff Lott, Chief Jenkins to give public safety updates, and of course they're on the front lines of today's rains as well. But we'll go ahead and get started and talk about water and wastewater first.
Good morning. We are very pleased to let you know that as of early hours this morning, the pumps, the larger pumps with the 24-inch line to the river have been activated, and they're pumping 20 million gallons of water into the plant. That's in addition to the 15 million gallons coming from Canal. So we now have 35 million gallons coming into the plant, and feel that that is a huge accomplishment. Had no doubt that we would get there, but it's certainly more comfortable now that we are there. So we're pleased to announce that. The dam construction continues, so you'll see that going on for days to come, and we anticipate being in the canal doing various parts of that project for quite a while as well. There is still a boil water advisory in effect for the majority of the system. We lifted the boil watery for Chapin, Ballantyne, portions of Broad River Road, and I think the mayor will talk about that a little bit. That was lifted a few days ago. We anticipate another boil water advisory repeal coming through in the next hour or two, so look for that. And we are working very hard to bring a map to our website that makes it really clear to understand if you still need to boil your water or not. So definitely go to our website, columbiasc.net, to find out where you stand as far as the boil water advisory. While I'm here, I really want to talk about debris removal real quick. I want to give an update on that. Activities are still going on. On Friday, we removed 331 tons of material. Yesterday, we removed 341 tons. Crews are out in the areas all day today as well, so we will give updated numbers on Monday. We will continue garbage and bring back recycling collection on Monday next week per normal schedule. We are suspending trash collection throughout the city so that we can divert those resources to the impacted area at least through the end of next week.
Missy. Yesterday I had the privilege to meet with Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson, Governor Haley, Congressman Clyburn, and made it clear that our community has been through a trauma unlike anything we've ever known, and that we need immediate and ongoing support from our federal government if we're ever going to truly recover. To that end, I've made a number of specific requests in a letter we're passing through Congressman Clyburn on to the Secretary, requesting multiple FEMA disaster recovery centers to be immediately established within the city of Columbia and Lower Richland County. We're happy that immediately following that meeting, we received notice that we would be having a center open on Gardens Ferry Road in southeast Columbia, significantly affected by the storm, and in the town of Eastover, which we know has also been hard hit. We requested passage of a supplemental disaster appropriation providing emergency funds and incentive to aid in the recovery of the impacted areas. We've asked that those appropriations consider disaster community development block grant funds, tax incentives like new market tax credits, low-income housing tax credits, historic tax credits, as well as funding through the EDA, the Economic Development Administration, Army Corps of Engineers, and other agencies. We asked for a waiver of the local cost share requirement for FEMA funds, approval of FEMA community disaster loans for the City of Columbia to help compensate for the serious and ongoing loss of revenues needed to perform governmental functions due to this historic disaster. We've asked for approval of immediate need funding through FEMA's Public Assistance Program to address the urgent need for emergency work, including debris removal, emergency protective measures, and removal of health and safety hazards. We've asked for relief from the NFIP, National Flood Insurance Program, for our homeowners, the penalties for homeowners, for private nonprofits, and local governments. We've asked for access to mitigation funding to be used to help our community rebuild more resiliently so we can protect the investments the city will make in the coming months and years against the impact of future floods and storms. We are indeed a strong and resilient people, if nothing else. That fact has been demonstrated time and again over the last several days. Over the years, we've given freely of our time, our talents, and our tax dollars to those devastated by great storms all across this country. Now, obviously, we're the ones who need help, and we need it now, and we've made those requests. I want to, of course, encourage each and every one of you to, again, go to columbiasc.net and to view the City of Columbia's incident response brief that our staff has so ably put together and presented online, and I believe unprecedented transparency. Madam City Manager lays out obviously where the water distribution sites are all across the city, from Dutch Square on the western side of the city to Midlands Shopping Center on the east central side, all the way down to Lower Richland High School, Eastover Park. Recognize there are several different places to fill water filling stations, water buffaloes dispersed throughout the community. The improvements that Assistant City Manager Gentry has referenced on the canal and the opportunity to bypass water from the Broad River into the reservoir are significant. And I think it can't be overstated how big of a win that is for the city. Those of you who are continue to look at the visual of the canal breach, we'll be working there for a few more days. Had a chance to speak with the Adjutant General, who's been providing stalwart leadership on this issue along with our team. The armoring and the sandbagging has helped to stem the deterioration of the breach significantly, and we're going to have some more time to work with, but that visual is going to be there for a few more days as we continue to work through this. The repairs, the consistent repairs to the system that our staff has worked through, and I'm going to go through a few of them, so as people are paying attention, you've seen our staff at work all across the city. I want to make sure you know what has been repaired. That combined with significant conservation efforts that so many of our constituents, our citizens, have been heeding our requests, have significantly cut the amount of water being pulled off the system, and we want to encourage those constant conservation efforts. But repairs through the week, line breaks at Bluff Road, south of Pineview, repaired. A 12-inch line at Lost Creek, repaired. A 12-inch line at Trentham and Rockbridge, repaired. Tall Pine Circle off South Beltline, repaired. 8-inch line of Trentham and Cary, repaired. Earlwood Drive and Sunset Drive, repaired. Quail Hill Subdivision, repaired. A 16-inch line at Kings Grant, repaired. Monticello Road and Blue Ridge Terrace, repaired. Line at Hunt Club Road, repaired. 510 Lakeside Road, repaired. Beaver Dam Road, repaired. An 18-inch line break between South Beltline and Veterans, repaired. A 300-foot section along Kaufman Road from Benson to Dominion, repaired. Over Creek, a 6-inch line at the dam breach, repaired. A 10-inch break on Forest between Trentham and Percival, repaired. Continuing under repairs, a 24-inch line at K Street is partially repaired and awaiting final repair, and also under repair 3200 Fernandina Road. There's still 3 more sites that remain flooded, and we're not aware of any breaks there, but we'll be able to confirm that after the water recedes. Along with staff, I'll be traveling out to our wastewater treatment plant later this afternoon to visit with our employees out there. The plant is fully operational, and our folks are working hard out there, and we're so thankful for their service. The Assistant City Manager also made it clear that the boil water advisory will be expanded. The repeal will be expanded later on today, but customers currently in the town of Chapin, Ballantyne, areas around Lake Murray Water Treatment Plant, Broad River Road, Lost Creek Drive, and Chestnut Hills are no longer under boil water advisory. The map that the city manager mentioned will hopefully be a user-friendly map available online very soon as well. Again, we're proud to see some quick response from FEMA in regard to the disaster recovery centers. There have been several requested around the city and around the region, but particularly to know that the Southeast Library site and the Eastover Library site will be fully functional, I believe as soon as today, is a big win and a move in the right direction. Thank you all for continuing to share this information. We ask again that you do, if you have time, go to our website, pull up the full briefing so that we have the facts, and let's make sure we're not relying on Facebook or social media to get our information. I want to yield to the sheriff and the chief of police for a law enforcement update.
Thank you. Brief update. Very happy to report we had a very good night. Very little activity. We're sustaining our joint operations, and we'll continue in that posture for the immediate future. One thing I think is encouraging of note, we started with daily totals at almost 3,000 calls for service, and over the last 24 hours, we reached our all-time low since the weather event of 1,528 calls for service, and that's all emergency services. I think that's pretty impressive when we're a little over 11,000 for this event period. We continue to control access to our affected areas, and again, we're asking for cooperation from the public and understanding of we need to get equipment into the areas. So the people volunteering to help they've been very cooperative. We've tried to divert traffic and direct them to gathering points to walk into these areas, and we're going to continue to do that. We'd like to thank the business owners and our citizens related to this curfew, especially with some of our late night establishments. They've been very cooperative in closing when we ask them to close, and people getting home and off the streets. I can't tell you how helpful that is to law enforcement as we try to provide security to these effective areas, and the sheriff's going to speak to some of those security measures and the payoffs. One thing that I think is important is we try, our goal obviously is to restore folks to their normal lives, and we know that us being open and a vibrant city that we are is important, and we're a big part of that. So we're kind of doing a couple of things as we move forward. We know that we have to forward think. We have people that are running daily operations for us as far as what's going on right now, but we also have staff that's working on our forward operating plans in terms of we know we have events coming up, school comes back, the students will come back. There's a lot of things that we know we need to put in place to help us sustain not only our normal operations, but the affected areas and then these special events that come up. So I think it's important for everybody to know that we are thinking like that, and we will have everything in place so we're not taking one asset from one place to provide to another. We're going to sustain the level that we have in the affected areas in our patrol regions in the city and the county, and then also for events that is what makes Columbia special. We're going to make sure that we have those staffed and safe as well.
I'm actually wearing two hats today, as the sheriff and also as a member of the South Carolina State Guard. Yesterday around noon at Harvest Hope Food Bank, we almost had a very tragic incident where one of our State Guard military police officers was struck by a vehicle. Warrant Officer Bob Kinzella suffered a broken wrist and some other injuries. He is home resting right now, and we've basically had to tie him down to keep him from coming out because he still wants to continue to work. Not only is he a member of the South Carolina State Guard, he's one of my school resource officers in Lexington, Richland District 5. We worked throughout the night, and about an hour ago we made an arrest. We arrested Charles Kaufman, 73 years old. He's charged with attempted murder and also illegal acts during a state of emergency. He is currently at the Richland County Sheriff's Department where he is being processed. Just no excuse. He's a volunteer worker at Harvest Hope Food Bank. He was volunteered yesterday and had worked, and he was leaving when this incident occurred. So we have cleared that case up. The two witnesses there that actually saw the incident was able to provide us a partial tag number. From that partial tag number, we was able to locate the vehicle by just a process elimination with the type of vehicle that he was driving and the tag number. We just went through the list until we got to the right vehicle, and this morning we went and arrested him, and we have seized his car. The curfew still continues. It'll start again tonight at 12 midnight. It'll end at 6 in the morning. That'll be for the city and county. Last night's curfew was very successful in that we did not arrest anybody for looting, and we haven't had any reports yet of anything being stolen. So far, we've arrested 6 people. That's between the Columbia Police Department and the Sheriff's Department. 6 people have been arrested for looting. We did a search warrant last night at an apartment and recovered some more stolen goods that people have gotten while looting, and arrested one person there. We continue to ask people to stay out of these areas. We just don't need curiosity seekers and nosy people riding around. But we are out in full force. As the chief said, we have a lot of cops out there. They're not only from Richland County and the city of Columbia, but a lot of state agencies and city and county agencies have sent us personnel, and they're assisting us. We are making long-range plans, probably for the next week or two, to supplement what we've got and address some of these situations that we've got coming along with the state fair, football games. So we're going to be prepared. The community is going to be covered. We're not going to reduce any coverage in any of our communities, but we're still going to be able to have these main events covered. So we're in good shape as far as public safety. With the fire department, we've been working hand in hand. So I'm going to say this one more time. It's been one agency. It hasn't been the Columbia Police Department, separate from Richland County or separate from fire. The 3 heads of these agencies you see up here, we've been very close, and we've had one agency throughout this whole thing, and we're going to continue to be that way. But just, again, asking the public, please help us out. Stay home. If you don't need to be out, don't go out. And at 12 midnight, that curfew starts, and it's a common sense curfew. We have some people who do need to be out. We're allowing that, but we're checking them out to make sure that that is a legitimate reason to be out. If not, we're sending them in, and if they're not going to cooperate, we're going to make an arrest. Lieutenant Curtis Wilson will be putting out something separate after this press conference with more details on the arrest.
Chief Jenkins.
Thank you. Basically what we've done, we know we brought in a lot of assets from around the state. We brought in the state incident management team to help us with the deployment of all our strike teams that we had. That strike team, under our orders, was able to fulfill 100% of their duties. So we demobilized them on yesterday, and currently the CFD staff will be handling the command posts going forward. Right now, we're also providing coverage for the canal. We're providing a Wastewater team down there to assist them with any type of rescue that may happen down at the canal. So I think that's very important to have that team down there. We also have in our battalion chiefs, we've broken up into 5 districts. They'll be out and about looking at areas, surveying areas. You know, we got the range today. So, and I do want to reiterate this to the public. Please be watchful. We've already had to responded to one incident today where a car ran off the road into a ditch. So we want to make sure that you're watchful of the events. It's still dangerous out there, particularly in the lower Richland area, so you just got to be real careful. So basically what we're doing, we also still have assets from the guards that are assisting us currently, as well as we have tankers from other departments throughout the state who are assisting us as well, from other fire departments. So again, just want to reiterate that this is not over, and just because we got through several days of this, there are still some dangerous spots out there. Again, we have been able to get in about 95% of those areas. We got in some yesterday. I don't have the numbers yesterday, but I do know that there are still some pockets out there that are just inaccessible, but we do have the guard here to help us get into those areas.
Cameron Running with City Council, and just want to thank all these folks who are here for the hard work that they're continuing to do with infrastructure and public safety. Wanted to update you on a couple things. I've been working on the ground, trying to work in the affected areas, collaborating with our teams from around the nation, and wanted to give you a couple updates. On Garners Ferry Road at 7355, we're continuing to run hot meal operation over there. I believe we've done each day several thousand hot meals for people in the affected area. Today they're doing Boston butt, I believe, so this is real food to really help people in this time of distress, to give them something that is very comforting to them. If you're a church or a neighborhood organization or community organization and you'd like to place an order for pickup, you can call 803-695-2363. And you can call anytime between 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Pickup for lunch is at 11 a.m. and pickup time for dinner meals is at 4 p.m. So if you call and you order 100 meals for your congregation, for affected people in your congregation, you can pick them up at 4 p.m. and then you distribute them for dinner. The second thing is we have a team on the ground today that is providing wash service that is at Landmark Square, and they will be deploying directly on foot into the affected areas to interface with those who are affected and to help get laundry and other types of services that people who have been in a flood zone need. And they'll be going face-to-face and door-to-door with those folks for the next several days. And then finally, we have received just an amazing outpouring of goods and services, goods mainly from around the country. We now have several warehouses full of goods, and we're taking needs from churches. If you're a church or a neighborhood organization or some other group and you have a need in your area and you need goods to meet those needs, I would ask that you just contact me directly. My personal cell is 803-422-4895, and we will work to coordinate to get those goods to you, to your church, so that you can help those who have been affected. Thank you.
A couple of other quick notes. Again, I do want to join the chief and the city manager thanking Sheriff Lott, thanking General Bob Livingston. The Sheriff's Department and the CPD have been working hand in hand. The cooperation was obviously strong before this event, became even stronger with the tragedies in Forest Acres last week, but the unprecedented, unselfish amount of cooperation that we've seen, not just at the top of the agencies, but the men and women who work for them is something I think we should all be incredibly proud of. The awesome work of our unified fire department, Columbia Richland Fire Department under Chief Jenkins, just yesterday, as our staff was working on the plan, not only to continue pulling water out of the canal, but also the major plan to pull a significant amount of water from the Broad River, working with other agencies, our sister cities in Casey and West Columbia, to direct 3 million gallons of water coming from there. You heard fire trucks going throughout the city, and they were not just Columbia Richland fire trucks. You saw names like Duncan, Lyman, Welford. The coordination that we've seen from our fire department yesterday, I think, moved over 200,000 gallons of water, one tanker at a time, to the reservoir. That type of leadership is it's something that I'm just very proud of as mayor of this city. I do want to also say thank you to all of our sister cities. Mr. Runyon mentioned some of the support we're getting from all around the country. It has been strong and has been significant. The mayors of Charleston and Dothan, Alabama, and Mobile, and Birmingham, and Augusta, and Jackson, and Tampa, all sending real resources here. The mayors of Baltimore and Pittsburgh, just from all across this country, we're seeing incredible amounts of support from our fellow Americans. We're seeing incredible support from our Richland County Public Library, making all the locations available to folks in this time of need as well. I think we've touched on all issues. If all hearts and minds are clear, have some questions. I talked to Casey in West Columbia. Oh, absolutely. I mentioned them. Cliff? Overnight? Joey Jacob?
This morning,
This is the man who's been down there actually with his staff.
yeah, thank you.
Unflappable.
Thank you.
Hasn't left.
About sometime between 4 and 5 a.m., well, let me first say, we've been pulling out of the Broad River since Thursday evening, but sometime this morning between 4 and 5 a.m., we were successful to complete the larger pipe from the Broad River, one of the larger pipes from the Broad River, to get the most we can get out of the Broad River. Sometime around 5 a.m. is when we actually started pumping about 20 million gallons a day out of the Broad River.
How close were you to the point where the plant was getting into jeopardy?
We were not at the point that we were in jeopardy. Again, we're pulling from all resources to make sure we didn't get there. I mean, we have continuously been pulling out of the canal, and we will continue to do that as long as we can. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to get to both resources to make sure we have capacity in all directions.
Do you yet have any timetables on finishing the Boulder Dam?
We don't have a timetable of completion. I mean, we've been working around the clock, and we will continue to work around the clock for that. We have been successful to start to get materials on the levee that we've needed from day one to be able to complete this. And at the beginning Thursday night, we were able to start mobilizing material to the levee itself. We continued that from Thursday night. It's still going on as of right now. I mean, we're moving a lot of rock. And that's what it's going to take to make this closure. And we've been very successful with the guards' help, with the local quarries' helps, to make sure that we're getting the resources we need. But it's just a matter of time to be able to mobilize this amount of equipment, working against the elements we're working against.
Stabilizing the plant, does that mean you were able to then move your focus more to the Boulder Dam? Or these things
We've never taken our eye off either. We've been moving both at the same time and in a positive direction.
this weekend at the Boulder Dam?
It will likely not be this weekend. It's going to take several days for us to complete this. Again, it's just a matter of material and time and working against the elements we're working against. But we have been moving in a positive direction, and we will continue to move in a positive direction.
How's the rain impacting?
The contractor staff will work. I mean, we obviously will only work in safe conditions, and as long as it's just rain, we will continue to work. But obviously, if lightning becomes an issue, then we will have to demobilize in that case. But we're not, we'll still be on site. Things will continue to move forward.
Your twice daily inspections, are you going to amp those up now that you're expecting some more?
We are continuously walking the dam. Twice daily is what we said from day one, but we're 24/7. We are on the dam, monitoring the dam.
Any other collapses?
No, sir.
Any other new weak points?
We have some in the vicinity of where we're working. We're continuing to move the armament on the levee side. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we're just now, as of Thursday evening, able to get materials to that side. So it's now that we're able to get materials there, it's a slow process because it's not a perfect working condition that we're working in. So we're going to continue to move the armament up the canal in the vicinity of where we're working, and when we feel and the contractor feels and all the experts on site feel that it's a safe time to move across, to make closure, that's when we'll do it. But I can't say when that'll be, because I don't want to project a timetable that may be too soon or too late.
Boil water advisory, they plan to do it today, we haven't a number yet, how many people, how many customers that is, that no longer will have to go boil water.
We'll release that number, Cliff, as we, get our arms around the repeal. Any other questions? Thank you. I think they've been referring it as a soft opening because I think they want to open some additional locations as well, but that is something that, the governor will announce officially. The state will announce that officially. Thank you all.